Getting things situated here. Gonna have to give me a moment. I gotta get the laptop out. All right, hey you guys. I can't go horizontal on the view, so it's got to be vertical. It's the best we can do. All right, we're gonna swap the guide on this bad boy. I did the. Hang on, I'll show you. I gotta grab the car. Okay. All right, we're back. Hey, Kevin, how you doing, man? All right, so I figured out how to do double braids on the Wick car, and I also found some Paul gauge tires to work on this. Ironically, they're the ones for the other Mopars for the Roadrunner and stuff like that. So that worked out really good. They fit on there nice, and it runs pretty good. So I figured out how to do this, and then also I don't like how they give you those little pins that you're supposed to crimp and stick in there. So I did it a little different. We'll show you how I did it. So I hope you guys are all doing well. Nice set of cars you got there in the garage, Kevin. And I want to get this Bentley of Mike's off my bench. I've been promising to do this for some time, so we're getting to that now. Hope everybody's doing well this Thursday. I put my garden in today, so I'm a little ragged. It's a lot of work. Put in 19 peppers and 7 tomato plants and 1 eggplant plant. Then I also put plastic up and the cages. So it was an all-day task. And there's Phoebe. Hi, Phoebe. All right, we haven't done anything to this car, I don't think. Oh, I think I did. I did do the tires once. We'll we'll do the tires again while we got it apart, and I'll glue the motor down for him too. But we're mainly here for the guide swap. But we'll do that other stuff too. We'll give it the wikes. All right. All right. First thing we got to do, take the old guide off. Should I zoom this in a little? I don't know if I can. I don't think I can zoom it in. So, hey Omar, how you doing? Oh, I can zoom it in. Outstanding. Okay, let's move that. Okay, that's better. That's a lot of soil, Kevin. Hey Steve, how you doing, man? All right. Where did that screw go? There it is. All right, we don't want to lose any screws. We won't actually need that one, but I don't want to lose it nonetheless. All right, so I'm going to use, I'll show you. So what I do is I just pull this to the side, and then you can slide this contact out. These guides are the shits, man. They're, I mean, on a ScaleXtric track, maybe they're good, but I've never run on one. Anyway, like I said, you just pull that down and slide those out. All right, we won't need that. All right, let me grab some braiding here. Try not to have my fat head get in the way. Cool to see you on a live, Omar. Yeah, I added like 15 bags of soil to my raised garden. It's not really raised. It's cinder blocks, and I've got dirt that goes up some. So anyway, all right. So we're going to, instead of using those pins, I figured out a way to just use these things right here. So we need to flatten these out. Then we bend them in half. Stay with me on this. This actually works. It worked really good on that Wickmobile. Hey Brad, how you doing, man? Oh, that's B-Rad. Whoops. Sorry, B-Rad. All right. So there's one ready. You just kind of flatten it out and fold it over. And then you shove that in there with the braid, and it's pretty tight in there, and statically it stays in place, which I think is better than the pin method, because with the pin method you've always got to use a dab of hot glue or something. And this way you don't even have to cut anything. All right, those are ready. Let you guys get a good look at that, hopefully. Okay, now, okay, so the left is yellow and the right is green. It's important you get that right, or you will smoke whatever chip you put in there. Because I ask me how I know. Not really funny. All right, so that goes in like yay. Does it stick? Oh, okay, I see. All right, so where those holes are at, which they're in that radius, they're actually scraping this, so I've got to file a little bit off the back. That's awesome. Hey man, growing your own stuff's awesome. I make salsa and tomato sauce myself, so it's nice to have. All right, so I just got to sand this down until it's not catching. Looks like I got to take quite a bit off there. Yep, homegrown tomatoes are the best. Them store-boughts don't hold a candle. All right, that does it. Okay, so we had to take a little bit off the back there. I'm going to take just a skosh more off. Don't want Mike complaining his car's not right. He's the kind of guy that would do that after you help him out. I remember one time, this is a great Mike story. If you're listening, Mike, you might remember this. I'm sure he's not, but this was back in the 90s when I worked at a computer supply store, and he had a computer that didn't work. And I told him I'd take a look at it. Well, I took a look at it. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So I told him that, and then he said, well, isn't this what you do for a living? You know, all angry about it, which was, really rude. And I told him, I said, well, you can go ahead and not ever bring me your computer to fix again, Mike. If that's how you're going to be. I said, I looked at it and couldn't sort it out. Anyway, it turned out that he had it had this crystal is what it was called, and it wasn't plugged in right. Anyway, whatever. All right, back to work. All right, now we just need to cut some braiding here. I think it's about, how much did I use? It's like about 2 inches. Let's go with 2 inches. We'll need 2 of those. If you've ever drove a Scaley, they like to lose power really bad over the gaps in the track, and that's why I wanted to go to the dual braid method. Excuse me, like like Carreras. So that's why. Yeah, I did 7. I didn't think I bought 7 tomato plants, B-Rab, but I did. Oops. Well, Track Girl bought one of them, so I'm gonna blame her. And then when I first put them in, I put a little bit of shrink wrap around the cages, so it's kind of like a greenhouse. Plus, it keeps some of the critters away from it. So that's a nice little thing to do. All right, so now we want to kind of bend them so they look like that. So like so. You guys smash that like button if you would, please. I'd really appreciate it. All right, so we've got our braids folded and ready. Now, what I do is I put these in first. This part's a little tricky. You got to kind of squeeze them in a little bit. Make sure they're good and flat. And get them in that little slot. And try not to drop it while you're messing with it. See what I mean? I have large fat fingers, so it can be tricky. All right, this one's starting to go. Once you get it started, it's kind of handy to have these little mini pliers. All right, we're almost where we want to be. All right, I bring it so it's up just a little bit, sticking out, and then you can bend it back. And then we're going to shove that piece right in the front of it. So let's do the other side. Kind of bend that back. Nice, nice. I use some bone meal, some rotten leaves, and a couple Tums when I put mine in. Tums for some calcium, rotten leaves obviously for some rotting vegetable matter, and then you should keep that GTO. It's freaking gorgeous. Sell the project, but you know I understand. I really do. I've got like 7 bikes out there. I should probably sell 1 or 2 of them, but I just can't come to do it. All right, this one went in pretty good. More easily, excuse me. Pretty good. Ooh, that's good English. All right, and then as you can see, we've got them bent back just a slight bit. All right, so at this point, we'll go ahead and screw this in. Now this part is tricky. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get to doing this video, you guys. Just life's busy, man. And your track looked really nice, by the way, Kevin. Nice setup it had. The layout of the track. All right, so you want to screw this in snug, but not too tight. You don't want it flopping around, but you don't want it so tight it can't pivot. I did that once. I'll look at the chat here in a second. When you're screwing this in, you gotta be careful because it's plastic and you're putting threads in it yourself. Okay, that's pretty good right there. No, a little tighter, a little tighter. There we go. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? Luke, how you doing, buddy? Everybody, that's Luke, the guy I talk about with the custom signs on the Monday show every week. Welcome, Luke. Good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. Hopefully it's sending you some business. You know, I should compost, but man, that's a lot of work. So I'm not very good at it, to be quite truthful. All right, guys. So I try to make the braids about as long as the guide itself. So these are just that right one's just a little long. There we go. Just don't want it to short out, you know. I'm sorry, Luke. Hopefully that gets better, man. All right, so now we've just got to shove these bad boys into here. All right, so the right is green. Again, polarity is very important. Well, this is also a little bit tricky because it's really tight, but that's the whole point. Okay. All right, it's being unkind. All right, I think I need to get my pliers. Where's my minis? It keeps bending on me. You gotta keep it kind of rigid, I think, to get the initial. Trying to do this where you guys can see it, but where I've got to be able to see what I'm doing, so it's a little tricky. This was a lot easier on the John Wick car. Damn it! Okay, I gotta take my glasses off. I can't see right. Okay, I think I got it started. No, don't come out. Don't. No. There we go. Oh, except the braid pushed in. Well, isn't that a pain in the keister? Hang on, we almost got it, I think, here. Okay, we got it. All right, there you go. There's one of them. No, that wasn't a very good view. Sorry, let's try that again. So you can see we got the one in there. All right, let's get the other side. Easy, how you doing? Hey, Colt, how you doing? I bet those chickens do. I've got a neighbor who's got some chickens. They like Phoebe a lot. They always come over to the fence when Phoebe's out, which is really funny. All right, now let's get this one. Hopefully. All right, we got it started. And you get your mini pliers out and you just slowly work that bad boy down in there. Just like that right there. All right, the only thing I don't like how this one pulled in the way it did. I gotta fix this. I don't like it. All right, so let's try that again on the right. The left looks perfect. Hang on, y'all. All right. All right. This looks good. One thing to note, make sure that washer has some clearance there with that plastic post that you mount the guide in. That's going to be really important. So we've got good movement on the guide. It's not binding. It moves good. That's a success. Oh, I see a problem. Okay, those lights are going to be a problem. I'm going to have to bend these down just a bit. That's not a problem, though. Sorry, you guys probably can't see what I was doing. Those things were hitting the lights. But now they're good. I got them bent down. All right, that's good. All right, let's do his rear axle up and put some grease on this sucker, and this bad boy's done. And that'll be off the bench. And man, I have to say again, this is freaking so sexy. You know, the lights and the taillights work really nice. The high beams aren't on. I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, both headlights don't work. I'm like, well, that would be high beams, so that's fair. Anyway, yeah, it's just and it runs really good with those pull gauges on it. So, yeah, very happy with that car. We got a fox that runs around in the area of B-Rad, and I'm sure he's wanting to eat some of them there chickens that are out back there. They let him run around. I only see the fox at night. I've seen the fox at night and early in the morning, but no other times. All right, we're going to pop some glue real quick on this motor. Help to keep it nice and stable. Like I've said before, you can do this with blue tack or even double-sided tape. And you don't need a lot. The reason I like the hot glue is it's real easy to remove if you need to. It just pops right out. All right, we're done with that, so let's shut that off and unplug it like I always say. And you don't have to worry about it. All right, now let's get the tire truer out. And I can't talk. This axle's already done. It just needs a little bit more taken off of it. And then this car should be pretty nice. Hopefully Mike will be happy. He gave me a Piranha 21.5 motor for doing that. I'm thinking about dropping that in the McLaren, Mike's McLaren, because that thing does so well with the Carrera motor with the 21.5. Man, that thing will be king of the hill. So yeah, the gloss black is just gorgeous. On that Barracuda. I almost called it a Roadrunner. So, all right, we got the motor battened down. Okay, let's get the tire truer out. Let me put my specs back on. Hang on a second, you guys. All right, I had to grab my water. And then I rolled my ankle last Friday, and that's still hurting. So that's fun. Being old's great. Actually, getting old's a privilege. I know I had a lot of friends that weren't able to get old. So we don't want to get too somber, though. Rest in peace, my friends. All right, this won't take long, but where's the... Oh, good. There it is. Let me clean this real quick. Got to keep this thing clean or it doesn't work for crap. Well, just like sandpaper, when it gets all mucked up with wood, you know, it doesn't sand very well. It loses its sandability. Is that what Joe would say? I'll check the chat here in a second again. I'm glad I'm finally getting some time to get the track stuff worked on. Yeah, I was so fired up for the WIT car, I just had to do it. Yeah, Steve. Yeah, this year's a big number for me, but that's all right. Yeah, Brad, I know. Okay, I'd be happy to show you what's going on with these. So these are freaking basic, man. They don't even have lights. So that is as basic as they come. So I've got tires that work on it, and I'm actually going to put a Carrera chip in this because I've been wanting to do that. I'm sure it'll work fine. I've just got to figure out a mounting solution. I'll have to do some soldering, but that's okay. But then I can use the Carrera lights for the headlights and the tail lights. And this Boss Mustang's so deserving of actual lights. So that's what's going on with this. And pretty much the same thing needs to happen with the Camaro. Now this is Dave the Hat Man's. He's probably going to want me to do the same thing. So he's going to have to score a chip and some lights. Once I do mine, I'm sure that's what he'll want on this. So I was going to, yeah, I already put that in. I was just going to do his tires up for him so it would run better. But, and then it needs a guide change too. So, yay. Yeah, exactly, Steve. It would be crappy without the lights. Tired of giving things start to installing an analog. Yeah, I've considered it many times, Kevin, many times. But you know, we really like to pass and race our cars. So I should. I just haven't, Kevin. I've thought about it many times. So I don't know. I'm a procrastinator at times. Not as bad as Dave the Hat Man, but yeah. If he's watching, love you, Dave. He knows he is. He knows better than I do. But yeah, it would be great to have analog. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know, it would be cool, but then you can't change lanes, and I mean, then the way to do it is you both, you know, you both run each lanes and all that when you're doing the racing, and then you know you don't have to chip up every car, which is nice, and then you can buy all the other cars. I mean, my track's too damn big for some of my cars. Like I've got that Revo slot, and that thing, I can't drive it for crap. It's stupid fast on the straights, but I don't have a big long straight track. I wish I did, but I just don't have the room in there for that. You know how that is. We all want a bigger track. Anyway, all right, let's get to doing this. Doing these tires. You guys got me. You got me rambling. Doo-doo. Joke of the day. Let me check this axle here. Hang on. I had to adjust it a little to get it flat. Now, what's neat is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but you can actually see the tires losing their stuff if you watch the dull part. You probably can't see it, but you can actually see like if you guys have ever worked on a lathe, you could see like, you know, the line of the wood that you were removing with the wood lathe tool. I can't. The chisels, I think they were called. I haven't worked on a lathe in so long. We just got to get that shiny part off the middle. And it's a little unbalanced on the one side. That's why sometimes when you see me do these, you'll see me do one tire on one side. Like this one, we're going to have to do it. You can tell that it's not pushing as hard on that side. So you got to give it a little extra oomph and then do it by itself for a little bit. But as you can see, that one's about ready. And this one doesn't need much more. There we go. We got some chunks flying off there. That's right, Steve. Whoa! Not paying attention, looking at the chat. Humanity for the win. Yes, you too can look like a jackass. For $5.95, I will teach you how to look silly, just like I did. Wow, B-Rad. That's a lot of analogs, man. You definitely need one. Okay. We're pretty much ready here. We're just going to hit it one more time with the lighter side on both of them. So the one side always is a little bit loose, and you've got to kind of hold it in. Well, that's very true, Steve. We try to keep it flat as possible, but you know how that is. I'm sure it's not perfectly flat ever. I'm sure their quality control is not that good. True Tires is a game changer, Kevin. It really is. I cannot tell you. You know, sometimes, you know, you'll get like the Paul Gages and they'll be friggin' cupped on the cars that they're supposed to be on. You know, and if it's cupped, you know, it's riding on, you know, two thin little portions of tire on either side. And that's just, you know, not the way it should be. I have better words, but this is a family show. We don't want to be cursing like that. But you guys get the idea. You know what I mean? All right, just cleaning up some of the urethane. All right, so now all we need to do is grease this car up and we'll go try it out. Tomorrow's race night, so Mike will be excited for that. Get this put away. All right. Almost, Steve. Just got to put this bad boy back together and slap some oil on these plastic bearings. That's my other complaint about ScaleXtric. It's like you guys could spring for some metal, maybe, huh? Now this axle needs polished. We're gonna have to do that real quick too. I told him I'd do the works to it. I can't not do that. Bushings, yes, that's what they're called. Thank you, Steve. Humanity for the win. Steve keeping me honest. That's my Mopar buddy. Yeah, I'm sure they've been doing it a long time. You know, I got out of the slot car game for a long time. You know, all of us guys that race together now were doing it with my HO cars in the 90s. You know, then like some of you guys know, I put mine in Ziploc baggies, put them in a toolbox, and stored them for 30 years. So they were still in great condition. Okay, that didn't work out. There we go. Here's a piece. You're an ass? No. No, you're not, Steve. Oh, I used my curse word up. Huh. Yeah, and this Camaro, it definitely needs taillights, man, with those classic Camaro taillights. I'm not a big Chevy guy, but the Camaro taillights are cool. Got some Osric Tentacles playing in there. I don't know if you guys know them. They're a modern psychedelic band that plays really amazing music. It's more psychedelic rock, I should say. Not psychedelic. All right, that's right, folks. It's time for heavy metal polish. When you're polishing your axles, do it with heavy metal. Yeah. I am not sponsored by Heavy Metal Polish, although I should be. You don't want to get rid of your tire, True or B-Rad. All right, look at that. Getting rid of that pitting on that axle. Make that baby smooth for them bushings. Yes, sir. All right. Nope. Wait. All right, now it's ready. I love my ice water. Okay. Now let's put a little Earl on this. Look at that shiny axle now. I should charge my friends more for this stuff. Alright, I want to make sure those wires are down in there so they won't interfere. Alright, now let's get some lube on those gear mesh. Yeah, you gotta love every now and then their Carrera doesn't get something just right. Especially with like the older hot rods. It really annoys the heck out of me that Carrera doesn't make more of those. Yeah, those 66 GTOs with the flames are really badass. I think it's a 66. I don't know my Pontiacs too awful well, so forgive me if I'm incorrect, you guys. I'm sure Steve will tell me if I'm wrong. Giving you hell, Steve. It's my job. All right, there we go. All right, this bad boy's ready. Now let's get her back together, and then we can go do a track test. How does this go? Okay, I think I sorted it out. All right, I think this ought to work good. And check that out. Look at them braids. Yeah, where's that original one? Where's that sad thing? We need to do a quick side by side here. Here it is. Yeah, look at that, you guys. Look at that. That is pathetic right there. Good God. I resemble that remark, Kevin. Every now and then I'll have somebody that'll call me a hippie. And I'm like, man, I've been called a hippie my whole life. That and Toad. I remember when a kid tried to call me Toad a few years back. I just laughed and I said, "That the best you got, boy?" He's a good kid. And then I think he said, "Toad, toad, toad," and ran away. It was pretty funny, actually. Excellent, Steve. I think we all should have a little bit of hippie in us. Freedom Rock needs appreciated, man. Hey, man, is that Freedom Rock? Yeah, man. Well, I'll turn it up, man. I love that stupid ad. All right. The only thing I'm slightly worried about is this back one's still just a wee bit long past that guide. I'm going to clip that a little. All right, there we go. All right. Nice, nice. There's not enough long hairs left in the world, Easy. That's why I've had my long hair since I was 16. What's left of it anyway. You guys get to see my thinning bald spot up there. Considering my age, I'm doing all right, I think. I've got a lot of friends that have all white hair, are losing their hair. Poor Den, he's practically bald. The saddest thing is Adam, Den's kid. He looks like a, he's lost all his hair, because he's got the gene and he's not even 30 yet. Poor kid. All right, let's get ready to move here. Hang on a sec. Just getting the tripod ready. All right, we're gonna move here. It's like Austin Powers with the mole thing. All right, I'm gonna do the best I can here with the vertical view. It's not very easy, so I'll try to get the most of the track in there. There we go. All right, let me fire things up here real quick, just for prosperity's sake. All right, Mike uses number 2, ironically, so we're gonna program it to number 2. All right, let me get the laptop here so I can keep an eye on what's going on. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that, man. Boy, that view kind of smells. That's about the best I can. Let me. There we go. At least we got the main straight in there. That's kind of the best I can do with it. Well, hang on. I might be able to move it back a little more. Let's see how that looks. there we go. That's about as good as it's going to get in this situation. All right. We'll do speed 7, which is where we run GTs generally. And the brake, should do higher brakes for Mike, but it's all good. Let's see what we get here. See how it's doing that thing? A lot of these will do that with the brakes in the track. That's why I made those brakes so long. I think they're too flat right now. Other than that, the car runs really nice. Yeah, they weren't bent up very good. Oh, we got a short. That's what I was worried about. Okay, there we go. This runs really nice. See that slide? That was sweet. I'm pretty much going full blast here, so Mike's going to love this. All right. There we go. All right. So, Operation Bentley is a success. She runs good. We'll just set that right there. Yeah, the adding the details and lighting and all that stuff is a lot of fun, Kevin. I still gotta, like you guys know, finish the lighting on them corners, but so that's about it for tonight's live show. I'm glad we got to do that and get that done. So hopefully you guys could see that well, and hopefully it was good info for anybody that needs it. So thanks everybody for tuning in and chatting. It was fun, and it's been a good Thursday night. Friday's tomorrow, so Friday evening. So have a good Friday, everybody. And hey, drummer boy, welcome. I'm just closing out right now, but we're glad you stopped in nonetheless, man. You can certainly rewatch. Absolutely. We did a ScaleXtric to Carrera guide swap on a ScaleXtric car. I put a Slot Invasion Carrera guide on a ScaleXtric car, so if you want to rewatch, you can check that out. Then we just did the track test, and it runs pretty good, so we're happy about that. And then I did the tire tuning and all that stuff on the car. It's a friend of mine's. He paid me to work on it, so hooray. But anyway, all right, everybody. So again, have a great Friday and a great weekend, everyone. Tomorrow's race night, so we'll have some races next week to watch. So medal, everybody. See you later, Slot Cowboys. Race on. Be a kid as often as possible. Remember that. All right, how do we shut this off? All right, it's going to get weird. Oh. Ah. All right, everybody. Metal. Cheers.